Welcome to Family Focus. I'm Joyce Johnson, CEO of Johnson & Olson Communications. My guests today are from the Munroe Falls Paranormal Society, and boy, the last time we did this show, we had hair standing up. We had goose pimples. We had it all here because this is really fascinating. We have updates here and plus an additional guest. We have, first of all, Scott Santa over here sitting next to me. Also, we have Eric Hanley.
Haney.
I'm sorry.
That's
Scott
okay.
Wells and also Robin Vaughn. Correct? I got everybody right?
Yep.
Cool. All right, we have an update from the last time. You were in the midst of doing all kinds of investigations and things going on. And one of the things we talked about in our last program was investigations that you were doing in Massillon, because lots is going on in Massillon, apparently.
Well, we see that actually the central part of Ohio and south tends to have a little bit more activity than up here in the northern part of Ohio. We're not quite sure why, but Massillon seems to be kind of a hotbed for paranormal activity. So we do, when we get cases in that area, we tend to see a little bit more activity down there.
Let's show a clip. Now, the first clip that we are going to see is actually in Massillon, and this is in a house, correct?
Yes.
In Massillon, where you've been conducting an investigation. So we are going to look at a clip of actually what's going on in an investigation, and you can see for yourself.
Hey, George.
We're just going to show bits and pieces of
if you are back here with me, could you give me a sign of your...
Oh my god!
What?
Oh my god. Holy
What?
crap. I want to go upstairs now. Yeah.
George! What was that?
Oh, my heart about fucking fell out of my chest.
Where?
Oh my god.
I
Something.
don't know. I'm looking over here. There's something over here.
That is the loudest sound I've ever heard. I've been doing this for...
Okay, hold on.
Ooh. Oh my god, my...
What happened?
Now, go ahead. I'll let Scott take this one.
Well, Eric had gone over to the other side of the basement doing
Okay.
some filming, and he was asking for a response from the spirit who we had thought the name was maybe George. So he called for George to give a sign. At that time, I happened to see the two ladies that were sitting next to me. I saw a dark shadow drop from the ceiling behind them. And as that shadow hit the ground, there was a loud crash. There was a metal cart that had been sitting beside us with about 40, 50 pounds worth of tools on top of it. And it seems like that was what got jarred somehow. Almost as though it had been picked up and then dropped for maybe about an inch. Later on, we were able to see that the cart had moved somewhat. When we were able to compare the different pictures and the camera views that we had of the area, that it had moved somewhat outside.
What do we know about this George?
Well, what we believe he was is the possibility he was a coal miner, because the house itself was built on the entrance to an old coal mine, the Massillon Iron and Coal, and it operated from the mid-1800s to about the early 1950s. And they had been experiencing activity in this house for quite some time. Doors opening and closing. We've actually, during our setup of the initial investigation, one of our investigators actually had a door closed right in his face when he was trying to walk into the room. They've had seen shadows, footsteps, heard voices, had objects moving, all kinds of activity. So when we did the research, we found that there was several deaths associated with the house, and one of them we believe was a coal miner. And we think that he was the one that was responding, because when we did use the name George, that's when we got most of the activity.
Wow. Are we ready with the second clip? Are we ready with that? Okay, let's go ahead and show the second clip. Now, this is also in Massillon.
Yeah,
correct?
now let me give you a little
Okay, what's going on?
This one, what they're doing is, we had a flashlight that was modified to be touch sensitive. And as you watch this clip, they actually get some great interaction asking the entity to turn it on and off.
Button on it, we'll press the top of it.
Just flip.
Oh, there it goes.
Thank you.
Oh, turned on. There it goes. It's staying on. Was that you that just did that? Can you do that one more time? Oh, look, there it goes.
Just
one more.
going.
Just keep going. Oh, there it goes. Can you hold it down for at least 3 seconds. I know that's a lot of work, but if you can do it, we'll know that was you. You know what's weird? We go to this side of the basement, the flashlight starts turning on. It's as if it's avoiding us. Oh, there it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow.
Thank you.
Whoa. Thank you for that. Now there's one thing I'm going to ask you to do. It's not going to require much effort, but on the count of 3, can you turn the flashlight on when I hit 3? 1, 2, 3. Wow. Oh, nice.
Had to build up a little bit of energy, didn't you? Turn it off on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Come on, all you gotta do is lift your hand up. I know you like it. Oh.
That
How is it possible the ghost follows directions more than my children? That's what I want to know.
Well, the interesting thing is we were not able to really get that to happen in too many places after that. This was the only place that we're able to get that type of interaction.
Yeah.
And what you're seeing there is just a very, very small part of the 2 hours they were able to get that interaction to occur.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I have a new guest here. Scott Santa is here, and actually Scott has done a lot of research on the Mothman. Now, for those who have never heard of the Mothman, what would you tell them?
Well, the Mothman is, the bottom line with the Mothman is nobody knows what it is or what it means, and I think that's why the fascination is there. 50 years. I mean, 1966 was the first widely known reported sighting and experiences of Mothman, and apparently it's still going on today in different parts of the globe. But
winged creature, describe what the Mothman looks
winged
like.
humanoid, glowing red eyes. The eyes are so intense that most witnesses are unable to focus on anything else except the eyes. It draws them in, hypnotizes them, and not too many of the witnesses feel threatened by it, but scared because they don't know what it is or why they're seeing it and what it's doing in their lives.
Now, it was sighted near the Pittsburgh area originally, in that area. Where are some of the places that Mothman's been sighted?
Oh, the original sighting was in Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Actually, outside of Point Pleasant is a little town called Munroe Wells. A man had an experience. His dog chased after something he saw in the yard, had glowing red eyes. His dog went after it. He went in to get his gun. He was so shook up he didn't even go back outside with his gun. And he never saw his dog again either. His dog disappeared, and he saw tracks like the dog was
In a circle.
chasing its tail, which he'd never seen it do before, and then the tracks just disappeared right there. And then about a month later, it started to make itself known in Point Pleasant.
Okay, in West Virginia.
In
that
West
area.
Virginia.
What are some of the areas? So it was not in the Pittsburgh area. It was in where was it sighted?
Point Pleasant,
Point Pleasant, just in that area.
West Virginia, yes.
All right, and one of the reasons we brought you on the show today was because Mothman, for those who follow it, there has been a local sighting of Mothman.
Yes,
recently.
indeed. To my great surprise, I was contacted by somebody and finally got them to meet with me, and I took a report from them, and it was sighted at in Stow, Ohio.
Yeah.
Just north of the Route 8 overpass over Hudson Drive, near the Walmart and Lowe's. And
At late night. This
late
happened
night,
late at night.
10:15, man was on his way to work, and when he went through the overpass, he just glanced to his left, and he saw an entity, and he saw it momentarily as he drove past. He went back to the road, looked in his rearview mirror to try to confirm what he saw, and it was gone. Well, his eyes started to water really bad, and He said he felt pale. He doesn't know if he turned white, but he felt faint. And he was extremely scared, so scared that he had the thought, first thought was to turn around and go home. Yeah. Tried to call his wife, and his phone wouldn't work. And he says, I've never had that problem with this phone, never, ever. He tried to dial home through his address book, that wouldn't work. He tried to manually punch in the numbers, kept getting call failed. All the way from the bridge to the entrance to I-271, his phone wouldn't work. And he regrets not turning around going home. I guess it was a real bad night for him.
Oh yeah, red eyes alone.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't see any red eyes.
Oh, okay.
He saw no red eyes,
Okay.
but I have the
The
witness
figure.
drawing.
Witness drawing. They can't
know
see
if
it
you
so
can see
well.
that.
That's a bird-like figure, very similar to other witnesses of what. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that is very similar to what other witnesses have seen and have described as the Mothman. So this is why Scott has come into the picture, because he fits that description. You know what that witness saw fit that description. And again, I think we should encourage people to call the Paranormal Society and to call if they also cite, you know, if they see anything that's suspicious or like this
Sure.
at
We'll
all.
come out and we'll do the interviews. We'll try to get down to the bottom of it and find out, you know, what's going on. And
Rob, we'll get you in the show too. We'll get to you too. We're talking about all this stuff. How did you first get in touch with the group? What was it? Was it one thing that just brought you into the fold? That do you remember? Is it that far long ago?
No, I've just always been interested in it, and I was in school at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, when I wanted to get into it, but I had no time between working full time and school full time.
And
so.
children seem to be drawn to you. Ghosts-like children.
Yeah.
Now, why do you suppose that is?
I don't know.
I
have no idea.
We have so no idea how it is. You know, when I told other people about this show and people about the group, they said, "Oh my gosh, if I go to a meeting, a spirit is going to follow me home." And you say that's not true, really?
No, that usually does not happen. I would say in maybe rare extreme cases there have been entities that have been attracted to people, or what we call haunted people. But it's a rare thing. Usually it's not going to follow you home. Yeah.
We have another clip to show, and this one is in Maslin also?
Yeah, now this is the follow-up.
Okay.
This clip, I'll tell you a little bit here about this. You saw the interaction with the flashlight stuff. Now, we did a follow-up investigation with this family, and to our surprise during the review, we had found what would be considered a Class A EVP, or a very clear EVP. And three things happened during this process. They got a K2 hit, okay? Now a K2 is a EMF meter, which stands for electromagnetic fields. Basically what it does is it measures the EMF in the area. The K2 got a hit. Directly after that, we got an EVP, which was recorded on both our mini DV and our audio recorders. And it's during that time, Eric had asked the spirit, or George, to turn the flashlight on again, and the flashlight was not working all that well. He couldn't turn it on, so the response we got on the recording was, "It won't," after he asked him to turn it on. It's very, very clear. And then following that, they got an extreme chill in the room, and we measured a temperature drop of about 18 degrees.
Let's show that clip. Let's see that clip.
K2 jump, a little blip over here. And I pushed it through the doorway.
If you're here with us, George, time to play with the flashlight. I want you to turn it on.
Cold?
Yeah.
If it's really that cold. K2 jump blip over here. And I push it through the doorway.
If you're here with us, George, time to play with the flashlight. I want you to turn it on.
Cold?
Yeah.
Damn, is it really that cold?
Speechless. Wow. Now, you know, I guess George is probably still living there. Are there any efforts to send George across the light or to get him?
Well, unfortunately, the family that lived there had moved.
Okay.
And the reasons were multiple reasons, but part of it was because of the activity, and part of it was for other reasons. So they have moved, and we have not been in contact with anybody that currently is living there or possibly living there now.
Make it a satellite office for the Paranormal Society.
One thing I'd like to add, where Eric said that Massillon has a high activity rate, I had just saw an article, and I actually saw it on the news. Some lady in Massillon, she was charged with arson. She torched her house, burned it down, stood out front, called the fire department, torched her house down because she said she got tired of being pursued by demons and hauntings in this home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that
just a week ago or so.
Watched it burn down.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are just incredible. Just incredible. Now, if someone does encounter the Mothman, what do you do? I mean, besides going into cardiac arrest, what are you supposed to do? Should you run? Is the Mothman trying to communicate? Is there a message? Should you say, hey, do you want to send a message to us? What should you do if you have a sound mind?
I think everybody would agree that when we have these feelings or experiences, we try to confront it instead of
running.
Instead of running, because I think some of these, maybe not all, feed on fear, and the more fear you show, the worse things are going to get.
Well, Mothman has never attacked anyone, is that correct?
That is correct.
He's never attacked anyone.
No. He's just, it's just intimidating, I guess is the word, because it's so bizarre and out of the worldview of most people, especially in the late 60s in West Virginia.
Oh, yeah. Anywhere.
Anywhere, but still, even in the less populated areas where they're not exposed to a lot of more culture than the urban areas are. So.
All right, what are some of the things you're working on now?
Well, we just finished up, we're currently going over evidence right now for the Akron Civic Theater. We just finished up the investigation last weekend at the Akron Civic Theater. And I got to tell you, it was one of the best investigations this year. It was awesome. We had several bits of activity throughout the evening. Scott actually saw the apparition of the man up in the upper balcony, which is known to be seen in the past. I saw a dark shadow figure after hearing a door latch open in the backstage area, which come out of the backstage and zipped across the stage.
You saw the shadow figure after I saw it.
Right.
And then I got lost trying to get down to the stage.
Mm-hmm. We're still going over evidence right now of this, so we're bound to come up with a few more things. So that's currently what we're doing right now. And I'll tell you, it was a lot of fun. The historic, it's a historic facility, and the history there is just amazing.
It is.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
So how many people ghost-like apparitions might be in the Civic? We're looking at
If you're
more
looking
than
at
one.
apparitions, I've heard stories of up to about 3, I believe, that have been seen in the Civic Theater. There was a janitor that was had been seen occasionally, or possibly he was an engineer or other maintenance worker. In the theater, one is supposed to be a very well-dressed man, perhaps an actor, that's been seen backstage in a few other places. And another one is a woman who apparently drowned in the Ohio and Erie Canal that was that actually runs underneath the theater itself. That was, of course, predates the theater.
There was a lot of stuff going on in the Stars dressing room.
Like what?
At the
Such as
time.
what? When you say a lot of activity, what was going on in there?
It was Sean, Eric, and I had a pendulum, and it was responding to the questions, you know, yes or no. There was no maybes, it was yes or no.
What did you ask? Are you a man or woman? Do you ask that type of question?
Well, yeah. I said, are you female? And it would go yes. But when it started getting like irritated because it would just sit so still. It would not move. Even if I moved it, it would just stay straight. And I had asked, you know, do you want us to leave? You know, it said yes really strong. So we're like, well, we got to respect that. Let's get out of here. Because it just kind of, the whole atmosphere of the room changed when it seemed, you know, it was just getting a little...
You know, you would think because you're by yourself as a ghost that you would want to talk to somebody.
Right.
Yeah. One would think they would want to communicate.
Well, we were in their dressing room. Maybe they didn't want us in there.
Well, we do. We find we definitely find times where they are more than willing to communicate with us, and we're happy about that. I mean, you know, we really welcome that if they want to communicate with us, because it helps us understand that energy a little bit more and what's happening at that level, whether it's a quantum level or spiritual level or whatever, you know, anybody wants to perceive that as.
Let me, I mean, because you could get a little farther than the yes no. Do Ouija boards ever fit in on this where they would spell out to you? Or
No, we do
that
not.
Would not work?
We don't use Ouija
We
boards.
do not use Ouija boards, and we highly recommend against anybody
Yeah.
using a Ouija board.
Because?
Well, they can open doors that may not be something that they are able to deal with or able to handle.
It's
I
a
had
matter
a
of...
hideous experience with one.
Please tell us that experience. What was your experience?
Oh,
Say.
I was in college. We ended up finding one. Me and all the sorority sisters ended
Yeah.
up finding one in an attic. And, you know, I was young,
Yeah.
dumb. Took it to our apartment, started playing it, and, you know, just weird things started happening, like bread would fly across my kitchen and hit the wall, right off the refrigerator. Water would turn on full force. I could not explain that or debunk that either. The thing just started getting really nasty, and it ended up, we were sitting down playing with it. I had like 8 people in the room at the time. I actually think Eric was there. And we had like a 5-tier shelf where our little TV sat on, and it was all glass. And we asked it a couple questions, and it was like, I don't know, it was like 6 yes, 6 yes, 6 yes. And then right when it said, you die, it cracked the glass on our entertainment center, and all the guys in the room screamed like women and jumped on me. I'm like, get off me.
So what was happening there? What was
Actually,
going
it
on?
was Eric. It was another Eric.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Her
But
husband.
not
How
him.
would you describe what was going on with that? Do you think it was a
Describe that, because
hostile
I
spirit?
could not figure
Well,
it out.
When you open a door with a Ouija board and things like that, it's kind of like opening the door of your house and then shouting to random passersby to come in.
And you don't know what type you're gonna
sometimes,
get.
yeah, sometimes you're going to get some nice people that might come in, chat for a little while, go on their way, and then you're going to get the ones that just want to
And
cause
then you have to call a
chaos
Catholic
and-
priest
Right.
at 1 o'clock in the morning to come out and bless your home, because it's that weird.
Yeah, and you know, it's like, you know, I mean, we got a very active case we're trying to get scheduled right now. The woman has called me several times, and some of the stuff that's happening there now, I think you would find pretty amazing. They had just moved into a new house, and they've not been there very long. And they have pictures flipping upside down on their walls. They have all the clothes being tossed out of their closet, and the day when they're at work, they have no kids, no pets. They've also had crosses flipping upside down, and they have mentioned some of their religious artifacts, like crosses and such, being broken. So we're currently trying to you know, get in there so we can find out what's going on and see if we can help these people.
I want to get this on record with Mothman, because one of the theories that we were saying is he, she, whatever, might be telling us of something to come, a disaster to come, because that could happen. So give an example of where there was a disaster where the Mothman was sighted, and also maybe what we should be watching for.
After the after the Silver Bridge, then the two that I can recall is the Chernobyl incident.
Yeah.
He was reported there, and the Indonesian tsunami. Those are the only two I can remember, but there were several others.
Those are pretty big.
And the descriptions are pretty right on to the Point Pleasant.
Right, and I believe, and I don't know how true this is, but I did read some stuff where supposedly the World Trade Center, there was
a sighting
around there.
I have a picture. It's called the World Trade Center Angel.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
we don't know the provenance of that photo.
Right.
It can't be proven.
Right, but just
So-
for me, the imagery is what strikes me, that
you.
somebody would do that.
So within the year, if we hear of anything happening around the Route 8 bridge in the Stow area,
I quit.
right, we just need to just really be vigilant about watching to see if anything happens. We don't know, it's a theory, but that
It's
is
a theory,
thought.
and we would obviously hope that nothing does.
Right.
Because
But the Mothman, actually, the imagery goes back maybe 5,000 years to ancient India, and it was called the Garuda. And it was a winged humanoid that was the harbinger of disaster, and it was there to protect the people and stuff. So that imagery is followed through to Mothman.
Yeah.
The Mothman, now the word Mothman was just given to the entity by the newspaper. We don't know that it was moth.
Because the wing-like.
Winged humanoid.
Yeah.
Right.
That's basically what it is. It's got a big
All right,
history.
Eric, give a phone number. Tell us how they can reach you if anybody has sightings or questions or wants to get involved in your group.
Okay.
Give that
Well,
information.
the best way to reach us is if you have an computer internet connection, you can go to Google or any of the major search engines, and you can type in Munroe Falls Paranormal Society. That's M-U-R, just spelled with a U. Munroe Falls, M-U-N-R-O-E. Falls Paranormal Society. A phone number you can reach us at is 330-328-1215. And if you got any sightings or have any paranormal activity going on that you need help with, feel free to give us a call, email us. You can get all that information from our website, and we'll be glad to help with it.
October 30th.
Go ahead,
I'd
Ed.
also
Right.
like to point out, October 31st, we are putting on the first annual Northeastern Ohio Paranormal Conference. Information on that can be found at www.neoparacon.com. It's going to be free.
Who is that for? Who might want to join that?
Anybody that is interested in this sort of thing. We have a number of speakers on various subjects that are going to be there. We're going to have
From all
demonstration
different states.
tables.
Where's it being held?
It's being held at the Neo-UCOM Ralph Regula Conference Center in Lewistown, Ohio.
Great.
And it's on Saturday, October 31st. It will start at, the doors open at 9, it'll end at 7 p.m. We have people coming in from out of state. We have guest speakers like Betty Perryman, reverse that one, and Jerry E. Smith, and just dozens of other demonstration tables and other groups.
Mothy
I'll
will
be
be
giving
speaking.
Scott will be
my
giving a
presentation
presentation
there too.
We are out of time. This always happens to us, but they're coming back again. I know they're going to be so sick of this show, but there's just too much information to go through. I want to thank my guests for being here. I'm Joyce Johnson, and thank you for joining us on Family Focus.